Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here. Well, you've probably heard that President Donald Trump has officially backed Jerusalem being the capital of Israel. It's been all over the mainstream media, and the fact that he is moving the United States Embassy into Jerusalem as well. Something that he's campaigned on and promised on since the beginning of his election there, and he's actually following through to fruition, and I back it 100%. Now here's the thing, while that is going on and while all eyes are on that, stuff is happening behind the scenes, and that's what I want to show you today. But for starters, I want to just show you first and foremost how Donald Trump has officially backed Jerusalem. Check out this report on whitehouse.gov. This is a press briefing that was released, or just a briefing for the American people. And here it states that Trump decides to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and it furthermore solidifies how the U.S. Embassy is planning on being moved into Jerusalem. Now, this report also further details people who are supporting that. It includes everyone from Rex Tillerson to obviously the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel himself. Now, here's what Netanyahu had to say about Donald Trump's response, and I quote, "We're profoundly grateful for the president for his courageous and just decision to recognize Jerusalem as a capital of Israel and to prepare for the opening of the U.S. Embassy here. The decision reflects the president's commitment to an ancient but enduring truth to fulfill his promises and to advancing peace. The president's decision is an important step towards peace. There is no peace that doesn't include Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Israel." Now, again, I support what Donald Trump is doing here, and I have to say I agree. I take a biblical stance on that as a Christian. I am not Jewish. I often get comments in my section, "She's a Jew." I'm not a Jew. I have not a drop of Jewish blood. I'm actually part Greek and a little bit of everything else, from French to Italian to, I don't know, European stuff. So I got a little bit of everything in there. But that said, again, I just kind of take the biblical stance on that. And again, in the Bible, it does talk about Jerusalem being the stumbling block of the world. And this is exactly what we're seeing. So it's Bible prophecy that is coming to pass. Now, I want to show you this next report on dailymail.co.uk, but it's titled, "Trump will recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital today," which he's already done, "despite the international fury from the Pope, the UK, Russia, China, Turkey, Iran, the Palestinians, who say he's just declared war on 1.5 billion, that's not an M, that's a B, billion of Muslims." Now, the report goes on to detail that Palestine said it would be a kiss of death to the two-state solution, and Trump has basically declared war on the Middle East. Well, Pope Francis, there at the Vatican, said he was profoundly concerned and appealed that everyone respect the status quo of the city. China, which has good ties with Israel and the Palestine, expressed concern over possible aggravation in of regional tensions. Iran's supreme leader said Trump's new stance represented incompetence and failure, and Russia, a key Middle East player, expressed concern about the possible deterioration in the area. Needless to say, there's a lot of people that have been angered by this. Why are they so angry? What's the big deal? Well, again, the big deal is Jerusalem, something that the Bible said would be a stumbling block. And whether or not you agree, that's just a fact of what is there in the scriptures. So let me show you another report, because look, quite frankly, all this tension is rising. It's been the stumbling block over there in Israel and the Middle East for years and years and years. Since they became a nation in 1948, things have really increased. And then we have the Six-Day War in 1967. Don't quote me on that. But that is also has brought up lots of tension. Well, check out this report from Shubat.com, and it's titled, "The Frenzy Over Jerusalem Has Begun." Erdogan, the president of Turkey, threatens Trump. He says, "In 5 to 10 days, we're going to gather the Muslim world in Istanbul, and we're going to deal with the issue of Jerusalem." That's coming straight from Erdogan's mouth, who went on live TV, and he had this to say, and I'm going to quote him here. But Trump, he says, "Jerusalem is a red line for Muslims." And when he had said that, the entire crowd cheered. But he goes on to say, "We're going to focus on the situation until the end. If steps is taken in 5 to 10 days, we're going to gather the OIC, which is the Organization of Islamic cooperation in Istanbul. And this will not be enough. We will gather the whole Muslim world in this summit. We will continue our struggle to the end, and we will end our relationship. End it with Israel. Not like they had a relationship to begin with. Let's just be honest here, Erdogan. You really don't have one. Here's another report from FoxNews.com. Trump's Jerusalem decision could spark days of rage. Senator Al Franken to make a major announcement. See, to be frank, what that report gets into is that the Middle East is basically preparing and getting ready for tensions, for uprisings, for unrest in regards to Donald Trump's decision. That's what's happening in the Middle East. So we could see more day of rage kind of stuff. But again, like I said from the get-go, these are things that were spoken about in the Bible for quite some time. And I bring it up because, again, it is a fact, but there are a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. First and foremost, we have a blatant stand coming from Donald Trump that is actually aired on all mainstream media sites. What's not aired is the constant tension I'm telling you about here in my channel, how Erdogan and China and Russia and all these people are standing against it, including the Vatican. Now, the Vatican's a whole can of worms in and of itself. That I can go on a report alone, but the Vatican wants to take Jerusalem and make it a capital for Christians, Jews, and Muslims alike, and Catholics alike. That's what they want to do with it. We know everybody kind of has their hand in the pocket. We know the Palestinians want it and Israel wants it. Everybody has their stated claim, so to speak. But again, that's why it is a stumbling block today, and something that we quite frankly need to watch. Now, with that said, I know not everybody agrees with me on that. I get it. I don't expect everyone to agree. But this is just my personal take as a Christian and my situation and where I stand. And I'm, again, happy that Donald Trump is making that move. But we need to keep our eye on what's going on, because it has a lot to do with what is going to happen in the very near future. Could this spark a war? Could this spark a huge controversy? Could this bring tensions between America and Russia, or America and China? Or we know North Korea is a spitfire right now, attempting to spark a war with America like they have been. Will they actually do it? Will China switch sides as a result of what happened here with Jerusalem? Will Russia switch sides? Well, I guess ultimately the time clock is ticking, and we need to keep an eye on that. But that's why I wanted to bring it up and let you know there's a lot more to meets the eye than just the declaration. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.